Nechako, the name of the great river that runs through Prince George and Vanderhoof, of course, west as well. And the name of this particular train car, it's a very special train car, but it wasn't always named Nechako, and it didn't even come from the west coast. It actually came from eastern Canada. But the story of how it got to the Central BC Railway and Forestry Museum is quite interesting. We're going to talk about that today. Inside the Nechako here at the Railway Museum and Forestry Museum here in Prince George. And Alicia, tell me a little bit about this, because this is a really interesting thing.
It is a bit interesting. What you're seeing, it looks pretty fancy in here.
Yeah.
What I would say is the railway is a really good example of reusing and recycling. So this coach started off in 1913. It was built by the Pullman Company. It was actually used in Eastern Canada.
Oh, really? So not Western Canada?
Not Western Canada at all. What brought it here is at one point it had a fire. It was used as a sleeper car for tourists going across Canada, but primarily Eastern Canada. Expo 86 brought it to BC.
Oh, that was the straw that broke the camel's back.
For Expo 86, they brought this coach over. They named it the Nechako. They fixed it up inside. What we see is a product of Expo 86.
That's awesome.
And it was actually used as a smoking car for Expo 86.
Really?
Yes.
So people would come in here to smoke?
Yes, they would.
Seems
Only
a little,
in the 80s.
I was going to say contradictory, but hey, whatever works.
After it was a smoker car during Expo 86, it was used by CN as a welcome reception car at their downtown offices in Vancouver. It hosted dignitaries, heads of state, and even Princess Margaret.
Even Princess Margaret?
Yes.
She was sitting in here.
Somewhere in here, yes.
We don't know. Are these original chairs?
These are the original chairs, and the table in the back is the original table.
So there's a chance.
There is a chance she sat in one of these chairs.
Oh my goodness. We better find out which one. Auction it off or something. It's worth it, I'm sure. Like that's such a cool fact. Like
it is, yes.
We hear lots of times about, famous people staying in certain hotel rooms.
Yes.
And this kind of thing. And this is a fact with this. Huh?
There was a lot of people in and out of this car. So we're in the part that is the lounge section. There is a dining section and a large kitchen in the back too.
Wow. And this, so you said started in 1913.
Yes.
And then it went all the way to Expo 86. And then when did it finish service?
It finished service, let me check here, 1988 it went up for sale, and that's when the museum here decided to bring it to Prince George because they like the name Nechako.
Well, it fits. That's super cool.
Yeah.
Wow, what a crazy... So this is some of the interesting facts, like when you're walking around the Central BC Railway and Forestry Museum here, you don't take a real appreciation, I feel like, for things like this. Like, this has so much history if these walls could talk.
Traveled so far to get here.
Yeah, no kidding.
And been through a lot.
No kidding. So, interesting. They don't have anything like this on the railway right now. Hey? I guess the closest would be on the east.
They do have some cars on the railway. I don't know if you've ever taken Via Rail to Jasper or Prince Rupert. They are actually vintage trains as well. And they are stunningly beautiful, and they have cars that you can sit in and enjoy yourself. Yes.
Gotcha. Nothing like, I'm talking like luxurious like this, though.
Nothing quite like this.
Yeah.
I think you'd almost have to go to Europe or Asia for that.
Awesome. Pretty cool. This is super cool. Like, all of this here, original, is from when you guys got it, hey, pretty much?
From when we got it. So from Expo 86.
Yeah.
I think they started doing it up a little bit before that. But yes, this is 100% the 1980s.
Huh. I feel like you could play some 80s hits in here and just feel right at home.
Definitely. It has a tape player for that, too.
Oh, of course it does. Oh, man. Well, thanks for the info today, Alicia. This has been a pretty cool feature in the archives. Well, it's not really in the archives. It is an archive.
It is, yes.
The Railway Museum. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Prince George is in for a real treat when the Bachman Turner Overdrive comes to town on April 8th at the CN Centre, and so lucky to be joined by one of Canada's greatest musicians today, Randy Bachman. Thanks so much for making the time to chat today. I've heard it's pronounced a few different ways, but Randy Bachman from Bachman Turner Overdrive, I've heard you say before. Thanks for making the time.
You just did it both. That's correct.
I was practicing. I wanted to nail it.
I first did that on American Bantam with Dick Clark, my first time on there. He said, "How do you say your name?" And I said, Randy Bachman from Bachman Turner Overdrive. And you go, that's it. So you did it.
Perfect. Okay, well, that's good. We're starting off the interview on a good note here. I just wanted to, I'm so honored to have you on. You're one of Canada's greatest. And honestly, it's a real treat to have you coming up to Prince George here in April. Walk me through a little bit about what it's like to going back on tour for you. You've toured all over the world, but you're doing it again. Why continue touring, and what still gets you up to do the concerts?
Well, it brings a great deal of joy to my life to see this thing happen where me or any band, like it's the same with every band, you're on stage and 2 or 20 or 200 or 2,000 or 20,000 people are all there with you, and you're all strangers, most of you. And for 1 hour or 2 hours, you are all thinking and vibing and singing and dancing and moving and grooving and feeling the power of that music. And that has lasted for centuries, whether it's classical music or jazz or now classic rock, all over the world. It's all universal. It's the only thing that unites everybody and makes you think of the good old days, the happy days, which is from yesterday backwards. I mean, everything last week is the good old days. And we always think how great the good old days are. We have no idea what's going to happen today. Tomorrow, who knows what's going to happen to the world. So everything is like kind of nostalgic. And I think that's why classic rock is coming back. Old-fashioned country's coming back, less computers, less glamour, back to the cowboy hats and fringes and playing real music. So I'm real thrilled to be on the road because we couldn't do anything for 3 years because of the COVID shutdown. And I kept a lot of my people on salary and my bank account shrunk and shrunk and shrunk. Logistically, it's fun. It's a lot of joy. And musicians only have one revenge now, and that's to play live gigs because all your music is stolen and given away on Spotify. And then when it first started with Napster and all this stuff that like ripping all the musicians off, the only thing we could do is go and play live. And I'm very fortunate I can still do it. My band has evolved. I lost my brothers during COVID. My son Tal automatically was in the band when he was born. And he playing drums when he was 2 years old on my brother's drums. And so he's in the band now. And we've evolved a lot like Earth, Wind and Fire or Chicago or ZZ Top or Lynyrd Skynyrd has. Somebody leaves, they get drafted or they pass away or they just don't feel like touring or they have a health issue. And then somebody comes in from the family and you have the same voice, the same character, and the music stays the same.
What's it like to tour with your son? Because this is something special not many people get to do. Is there something in particular they like most about that?
Well, it's amazing. He is an intellect. He has thousands and thousands of books. He has a library that he remembers everything. So you can't argue anything with him. Politics, religion, wars, history. He knows everything and he memorizes everything. So he can quote footnotes and everything. So he wanted to do that. And he was in college. And I kept calling him saying, my drummer just broke his leg. Can you come and play drums for 2 months? I'm on a tour. He'd say, okay. He'd show up the next day with no rehearsal because he knows everything. And he grew up playing drums at my brother's Robbie's drums. So he'd show up. And then a couple of years later, he's back in college. He's studying to get his master's in something, political science, right? He's done in the Utah State. And I call him up and say, I broke my arm, and can you come and play for me on guitar? And he'd say, okay. And I'm the only father that's telling his son to quit college and come and be a musician. So now that he is in full time, it's kind of fantastic. You in the old days, you'd see a thing that said Jones and Son plumber, Jones and Son, contract. Now you see Bachman and Bachman or Bachman Turner Overdrive, and it's me and Tal, and he's got his own hits. She's So High, so that modernizes our show because I'm doing hits from the Guess Who from the '60s, I'm doing BTO from the '70s, and he comes in there with like a '90s hit, and he does She's So High, and everybody goes, "Wow, we didn't know that was your son." That's fantastic.
That is so cool. I wanted to play on the fact you're talking about different eras of the band with Tal as well. Do you have a favorite era of BTO that you were part of that you look back on?
I think this is gonna be my favorite right now because we are back. When we first in the mid '70s, I mean, Canada wouldn't really play us when we started. They're tough on new bands. So we had an offer to go down south to St. Louis and New Orleans, play Mardi Gras and stuff. So we became a Southern band. We were touring in the early 70s with ZZ Top, Allman Brothers, Charlie Daniels, the Doobie Brothers. Everybody had one record out, before we all had our hits. And we became very good friends. And then, boom, we had a #1 hit right across Canada. We came and toured Canada. We brought with us some unknown bands called ZZ Top and Charlie Daniels. Charlie Daniels then was a lot like the Allman Brothers, 2 drummers, 2 bass players, 2 guitar, organ, and they played Southern rock before he did his Fiddle and Devil Went to Georgia thing. So we toured Canada for the first time, coast to coast, the first $1 million tour in Canada. Now we're coming back 50 years later, but we don't have to bring American bands. We've got April Wine, who've got a good dozen hit songs, and Headprints, who've got a good 7 or 8 songs. So this is for, and all the big arenas are just too big for us. We're not Taylor Swift or whatever. We are rock and roll guys. We're playing places like PG, Saskatoon, Brandon, that have hockey arenas, 8 or 10 or 10,000 people, where all the Canadian rockers go, whether they're girls or guys. They're in their pickup trucks, they play rock and roll, they play some really great country music. Forget about the rap and hip hop stuff. We want to rock, and classic rock is back. And so this show going right across Canada is really going to be fantastic. You're going to relive the 70s. It's the soundtrack of your life, no matter if you were 10 or 20 at that time. It's from then forward, and it's going to be a great show.
Well, I think it's great. I think PG's a good spot. Some would argue it's the pickup truck capital of the world. So
good.
You got that right.
Great.
I was going to ask, because you're playing songs from the Guess Who, as you mentioned there. Now, of course, the one famous song, American Woman. Are you changing it to Canadian Woman, or have you considered that?
No, we're leaving. You know what? Way back when 911 happened, we were in New York when 911 happened. I was with the Guess Who reformed, and Joe Cocker was our opening act. We were supposed to play Madison Square Gardens the night of 911. And we woke up in the morning, and the thing had happened at Twin Towers, so we didn't play the gig.
Wow.
And then we played 2 nights later in Boston. And we were going to sing Afghanistan Woman or Media, Stay Away From Me. And we thought, no, let's not be political. Let's just play the song. And so, yes, we do a medley of 3 Guess Who songs early and 3 later on in the set, just because that's where I came from. And a lot of people prefer or like the Guess Who or like them both. And so I'm happy to do them both. But basically, it's a BTO night. We have fans emailing us from all over the world who are coming to shows saying, would you please play Sledgehammer? Would you please play this song? We've never heard it on stage. And I replied back, we've never done it on stage, but we will. Because when you do an album, 2 or 3 songs get played on the radio. You go into the next album, and people just want to hear the songs they know. They don't want to hear my latest song that I made up last night. Who cares? I don't even care. They want to hear the hits. They want to relive the memories, the soundtrack of their lives. So that's what we're doing.
I love it. Speaking of one of the hits, You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet. I understand, as the legend goes, there's quite the story around this song. Walk me through a little bit about the creation of it, if you can.
Well, I had an idea. When I'm trying to write a song, I try to find a song that's a #1 song or #1 favorite song and copy it, because it's the favorite of a bunch of people. So in copying it, I don't specifically do it note for note. I get the feel and the groove and the jingle and the jangle and whatever. And then I go my own way. So there was a Dave Mason song called Only You Know and I Know. And Dave Mason used to be in Traffic. And he had that great song. He was also in Mad Dog, That Englishman. He wrote Feeling All Right for Joe Cocker. And so I take that song, Only You Know and I Know, and I get a really nice jangle. There's also a song called by the Bellamy Brothers called Let Your Love Flow. So we're trying to copy that nice galloping rhythm, and people are saying, you are a hard rock guitar player, put in some heavy rock. So I put in this chorus that slams you in the face when I do You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet. And I didn't have any lyrics for it, but I'm just playing the song to test it. I had a brother who stuttered. And then somebody said to me, you ain't heard nothing yet. And I thought, no, I'm going to change that to You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet. And I'm going to stutter like my brother and tease him. This will never be on a record. It'll never be on a BTO record. I'm going to mix 1 copy on a cassette and send it to my brother. Like, na, 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 na. Because when you grow up with brothers, you tease each other. I had 3 brothers, and the teasing and the rivalry went on forever. So we cut the 3rd album. I do this rhythm track. I don't even know what I'm singing about. I just sing anything that rhymed. But I stutter and do You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet. Here's something you never forget. And I mix 1 copy. The head of our label flies in to hear the album, because we're now following Let It Ride and taking care of business with radio cuts. And plus the albums are really good rocking. He comes to hear the album. We play him the whole album. He says, I really like Sledgehammer. I love rolling down the highway. I don't hear a top 40 hit to top TCB and let it ride. And the engineer says, play him the throwaway track. We go get the cassette. There's not even, and we play the cassette and he goes, this is a hit record. You got to put it out. And I said, no, that's a big mistake. The guitars aren't even in tune yet. I don't know what I'm singing about. It's a bad Van Morrison impression in the ending. I'm doing all my Van Morrison from Brown Eyed Girl, like, sha-la-la-la, all this kind of goofy stuff. And he says, no, it's fun. Rock and roll used to be fun. Sha-na-na-na, boom, boom, yip, yip, get a job. Sha-na-na. It's nonsensical stuff and people love it. I said, okay, put it on the album. It's a big mistake. It went to #1 in 22 countries. That became BTO's #1, our first hit single, our million-selling single. And that's the story of You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet.
All right, unfortunately, that wraps it up for part 1 of the interview with Randy Bachman from Bachman Turner Overdrive. We will have part 2 coming up because Randy's just such a great guy to interview and he's got lots to say, especially about growing up in Winnipeg and what that was like. Stay tuned for that. We'll have that a little later on in the show.
Entertainment on CKPG Today is brought to you by the Treasure Cove Casino. Now that's entertainment.
It's time for another edition of War of the Wings as they hit the table here. We're up here at Fatburger in College Heights, one of 2 locations in Prince George. And Sonia, tell me a little bit about what are these wings?
These are the unbattered hot wings, tossed in your favorite flavor. And these are the honey garlic, little sweet and a smoky flavor.
Okay. Are you having the hot wings or should we punish Commander Clinton?
Well, I think do a little bit of both.
Yeah, a little bit of both? Okay, well, without further ado, it is time to wing-a-ding-ding.
Nice and saucy. Starting off with the drumette. It looks good, thick.
Are you a flat or a drumette guy?
I do not discriminate on chicken wings.
Oh, okay. I'm going to keep asking him the questions here. Dip? Yeah. Mm-hmm. What about the hot sauce?
It's a hot.
How about that? Sweet? Breaded?
Can I chew first?
Well, you know, talks for a living. We thought, why not? What can't he do? Jen, what are we thinking over there?
Very nice, very light, and yeah, you definitely get that smokiness.
Very good. At your fingers, there's a lot of sauce here.
Yeah, they definitely sauce these up nicely.
Now that I've had a bite, Caden, this is just the hot wing, and this is not too spicy. We could go a little hotter if we wanted to, and you can. There's like a whole hot menu that you can choose from.
Yeah, we decided we better not punish ourselves too bad today. Otherwise, we've been doing a lot worse things and mispronouncing people's names. Yeah. And hey, I will note, so some wings come with the dips. These guys got the dips here. They got the veggie kit as well. You going for the flat?
Can I show you my technique in eating a flat?
Let's see it.
So I pinch, and then I pull out just the one bone. Oh, that didn't quite work because it was broken.
Oh.
We'll try this again. Here's another flat. Okay. Oh my God.
They're slipping out of his hands.
These are hot.
The drama.
So you pinch, and then you pull out the one bone there, and then you're left with 2 separate little hot wings here.
Oh.
I don't know what I have.
Okay, well, he eats, Jen. Let's get the key takeaways from you on this. What would you say?
Very, very good. Like I said, it's a little bit sticky, so make sure you got your napkins handy, but other than that, absolutely delicious.
All right, well, without further ado, I got to try one to wrap this up here as we sign the Wings Armistice. I think I said that right. Ceasefire, whatever you want to call it here at Fatburger. You got to come give these ones a try. With dip or without. Taking a look outside at our CKPG snapshot today from Lester John. This is taken in Stony Creek, south of Vanderhoof. Thanks so much for this one, Lester. Beautiful sunset, I believe this is what it looks like. Could be a sunrise, though. I'm just thinking, not a lot of pink here, so no Sailor's Delight the next day, but it is definitely a nice snapshot with some snowy days behind us.
if you're a student, things are a lot different these days than, well, what your parents had to deal with, right? That's what my parents tell me. They walked both ways to school. We're uphill. That's what they say. In the snow, probably 2 feet, blizzard. I don't know what kind of other dramatics they want to throw in there. They also probably got punished at school. That was the thing. Going to take a look back at that today in local history.
School punishments. They look a lot different nowadays. In 1997, though, they looked like this at Sacred Heart. There's a couple students here, maybe they're still out there. Mac Goudreau and Jordan Kime. They had to write out 2 paragraphs of French 4 times while their classmates had gym class. I bet you they're playing dodgeball too, because they forgot their gym strips. Yeah, they were hanging out here, and well, it wasn't quite lost and found level close, but writing French for 4 paragraphs, that's quite the punishment.
Yeah, I don't know if they're quite allowed to force kids to write paragraphs anymore. Maybe. Instead, they're coding mice with Clinton and Sylvia. But anyways, thanks so much for watching today, and enjoy the wings, okay? You've seen the Prince George Golf and Curling Club. Now you've seen Fatburger. Your taste buds have to be sizzling. Get out there and try it. See you for more good stuff on the show tomorrow, okay? Bye.